This is Jan from New York City, and my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. Before we begin today's video, which is very, very important to talk about, and I'm going to have Steve Young on the other line in a few minutes, we're going to talk about the pitfalls of co-signing for a loan, EGAT. Just saying. But before I do that, I want to give an honorable mention to a wonderful woman whom I strongly suggest you head over to her channel. The name of the channel is Minimalism by Ann. Minimalism by Ann. Check it out. Really, really good. I am including in the description box below a really cool video and a very important one that was thought-provoking about her 10 frugal reasons that she's frugal. So check out the video, check out the channel, and thank you so much for a wonderful channel. And thank you so much for mentioning this channel. That was very, very kind of you. And now we'll be back with Steve Young in a minute. Thank you so much for waiting. I really do appreciate your time. On the line with me now, I have Steve Young. How you doing, Steve?
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. We're going to talk today about thinking about or not doing, or you might have to do it, hopefully not, co-signing a loan. We're actually going to talk about the pitfalls of co-signing for a loan. And on the line with me, as you know, I have Steve, who's absolutely brilliant in the financial arena. So Steve, I really want to thank you ahead of time for taking the time from your busy schedule. And we're going to talk about co-signing of loans. What is your general feeling about co-signing a loan? Are you okay with it, or you don't think it's a good idea? What do you think?
The best thing for anyone to do when it comes to I have 3 words. Don't do it. You're better off.
Okay. That's pretty strong. And obviously you have reasons for saying that, as far as like, what would be like one of the main reasons why it is not good to co-sign for a loan?
Keep something in mind whenever you go and co-sign a loan for somebody, because all you're doing is you're helping somebody else to get a loan who does not have any established credit. So go, unless you really, and even at that point you still don't know, unless you really know that person's ins and outs, because there's a lot of financial responsibility there. Because if you co-sign for a loan to help somebody else, all right, let's say that person defaults, messes up, misses payments. Guess who else is going to feel the brunt of a credit score or an effect on their credit? Not just the co-signer, but so does the primary.
So what you're saying is, for example, let's say somebody has a really good credit rating, a really good FICO score. So you're saying by doing that, they could risk potential damage or big time of their score. That's not good.
That's right.
That is not good. Wow. So are you suggesting that maybe there could be alternate routes that the person who's considering a loan and or the person who's considering co-signing of a loan should really think this over carefully and find maybe perhaps alternative routes?
As far as alternative routes go, I mean, there are probably some out there, but the bottom line, no ifs, ands, or buts, the best thing to do is to not even do a co-signing for a loan, because why put yourself at risk? I mean, if you have a 785 credit score and then you wind up co-signing for somebody who has no credit, and then if they mess up, are you ready to take a minimum of 100-point drop?
Wow.
Your score, if not more? And
Wow.
think about how long it takes for that person to recover in order to be able to get back to where they were. It can take up to 7 years.
Oh, no,
for you
no,
really
no,
to
no,
take
no.
that risk.
Oh, no, that's horrible, Steve. Do me a huge favor. Hold that thought. And when we get back, we're going to expound upon that thought. 7 years. Goodness gracious. Hang on. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate your time. Still on the line, and we were holding that thought with Steve. So you're saying that if something goes wrong and there's a default and things just don't work out, it has a blemish on your record, Goody Two Shoes record, for 7 years?
Yes, but let me take 1 or 2 steps back. All right. If you owe a payment, usually there's anywhere between a 5 to 10 day grace period that you can make that payment. Now, after that 10th day, they charge you a late fee. All right. If you don't make a payment within a 30-day cycle, then it can be reported to the credit bureau as non-payment.
Ugh, that's not good.
If you are able to avoid the late fee, but as far as late fees go, try to avoid that as well. Now, that doesn't mean that you can go in month after month after month and be late fee, late fee, late fee, because that also makes you look bad in the financial institution's eyes. So, I mean, I do not encourage people to do a cosign.
All right, everyone, you heard it here first. It is not encouraged. It is not encouraged. No one's telling anybody what to do. We're just having our own little conversation here. No one's giving advice, but we are both leaning towards not encourage. You know, there's another really damaging effect besides the 7-year horrible blemish on your record. And we'll get back to talking about that in a minute. Okay, so we're continuing this talk. You know, there's a lot of damage that can possibly happen, and it's really not good. Well, damage is never good, right? There's no such thing as good damage. But, okay, we talked about the financial pitfalls, but there's another type of damage, which in my honest opinion is equally, if not possibly worse than the financial damage, and that's the damage that could potentially happen between, let's say, 2 good friends, 2 people that normally got along very well. One person has financial issues, the other person has their financial ducks in a row. So being good friends, a person trusted the other person, and then eventually they get into a co-signing situation, and for whatever the reason, beyond our control, things happen in life. Life happens in between. And guess what? A really horrible potential of losing the friend, or in my opinion, even worse, a family member's, relationship, because your friends you choose, and you have your family forever, and we have to treasure everyone in life. But I do have a particularly strong regard for family. And speaking of family, my father, for example, Lord bless his heart and rest his soul, he just had this love affair of a historical person, Benjamin Franklin. He really felt like this never a lender or borrower be, but he didn't also want to be a cold-hearted person. And he did have a limitation on, let's say, to how much money he would, loan someone. He always advised me, do not lend anyone more than X number of dollars, because if that thing doesn't work out, you're not out that much money, but you're still showing an act of kindness. But he also taught me to pay attention. Is that person eating okay? How about their clothes? I mean, we were taught to be kind. Yes, we have to be kind, but that kindness you also must extend to your own personal friends and family, and especially to your own family. And things have to be taken care of in a logical order. Dad, rest your soul. Good, sound, solid financial advice, I have to say. So, Steve, what do you think about people that may be risking losing friends and family if they get involved?
Well, at times you have to be careful because somebody that you go and help, even your own family, can be using your kindness for weakness just to get something that they want. And, you know, and then sometimes, you know, you can have a friend that you've known in excess of 10 years, you know the ins and outs, you know how they are, and you know, the old saying goes, in order to receive a blessing, you got to give one. Okay, well, co-signing is a lot more than a blessing. It can also be a hellacious nightmare, but you do risk the chance of losing a friend, especially when they don't own up to their part of the agreements.
Right. Right. So that's not a good. That's never a good thing. You know what, Steve? When we get back, I'm going to talk about some common sense approaches that we can use to avoid having to get that loan. Let's talk about that. I think that would help a lot. We'll be right back. Thank you again for sticking around. We really do appreciate your time, and I so appreciate Steve Young's time. Thank you so much, Steve. I really, really do appreciate it. You know, what would be the best alternative to not having to deal with co-signing a loan? What do you suggest, Steve?
Well, my answer to that is not the person. It's not the person that is going to co-sign, not the one that's got the established credit. That's a whole other entity. But the person who needs a co-signer, well, if you have employment and you have money coming in, maybe consider saving up. And
that's a thought. That's a thought, Steve, right? You know, for people, you know, I mean, Steve, like you said earlier, basically don't do it, right? Remember? And it's true. Saving up, you know, good old fashioned, you know, work with yourself and get the resources yourself and pull your own weight and not have to worry regarding co-signing at all. What is your feeling on, should the person consider tapping on their own credit line, or what do you think of that?
What I think about that is back to what we just said. Take your money, set it aside, build it up, get about $3,500, $4,000. It might take you a little bit of time, and just go out and buy a car outright. Then you get the title in your hand. You don't have to worry about the financial institution. You don't have to worry about messing up your credit. You own something outright. And if you look around, you can find a decent car for about $4,000.
That's very true. That's very true, Steve. So you know something? Sometimes the old-fashioned way still works. You get things by earning things and saving up for it. And I agree with you about owning something outright, even if you bought a car brand new from the lot. Right, Steve? The second you get in that car, guess what happens? It depreciates. The minute you get that thing, it depreciates in value. So, you know, it doesn't matter about old car. It matters how well it runs. Does it get you to and fro? Is it worth going through all that possible financial headache? I don't think so. Well, Steve, I want to take the time to thank you so much for your time and your great, great, great tips. I really do appreciate it. Thanks again. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. And of course, as always, use your common sense. And in the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City and Steve. And we really appreciate whose time? Your time. Don't forget to put a smile on someone else's face, because the day may come that you would like that smile right back. Going to end this with a little bit of music. Have a great day.